A black waitress in a restaurant serves someone, and then he gives her a note that makes her burst into tears. What was in the note? Why did she burst into tears? Who is this person? All this and more we will know through our story. But do not forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel, which is to begin our story. In the quiet town of Rosewood, nestled between rolling hills and sprawling cornfields, life moved at an unhurried pace. At the heart of the town was Mabel's Diner, a cozy little spot with worn leather booths, the hum of an ancient jukebox, and the aroma of pancakes and coffee filling the air. It was the kind of place where everyone knew everyone, and for many, it was a second home. For Camilla, Cammie Dawson, Mabel's Diner was more than just a job. It was her lifeline. A single mother to an inquisitive 8-year-old boy named Jordan, Cammie worked tirelessly to keep a roof over their heads and food on the table. She was a tall, graceful woman with deep brown eyes that held a mix of exhaustion and determination. Her days started before sunrise and ended long after the moon was high in the sky. Between shifts at the diner and caring for Jordan, there was little time for anything else. Cammie's journey to this point hadn't been easy. Born and raised in a neighboring town, she grew up in poverty, the youngest of 5 siblings. Her father, a factory worker, struggled with alcoholism, and her mother juggled multiple jobs just to keep the family afloat. Cammie often took on responsibilities far beyond her years, cooking meals for her siblings and helping with their schoolwork. Despite her circumstances, she excelled academically, earning a scholarship to a nearby college. But her dreams were derailed when she became pregnant with Jordan at 19, and her boyfriend, overwhelmed by the responsibility, left her to face it alone. Determined to provide for her son, Cammie dropped out of school and moved to Rosewood, where she found solace and stability in the small-town diner. One overcast Thursday afternoon, the bell above the diner's door jingled as a man walked in. He was unassuming, dressed in a plain gray sweater and dark jeans, with a baseball cap pulled low over his face. Cammie, wiping down a nearby table, glanced up and offered her practiced smile. "Welcome to Mabel's. Take a seat wherever you like." The man chose a booth near the window, far from the handful of regulars scattered across the diner. He removed his cap, revealing neatly combed salt and pepper hair, and a face that seemed vaguely familiar to Cammie, though she couldn't quite place it. She grabbed her notepad and approached his table. "What can I get you?" she asked, pen poised. He looked up, his piercing blue eyes meeting hers. "Coffee, black, and whatever you recommend for lunch." Cammie scribbled on her pad. "Coffee, and the house special coming right up." As she turned to leave, he said, "You've got a lovely smile." Caught off guard, Cammie glanced back. "Thanks." The rest of the afternoon passed uneventfully. The man ate quietly, occasionally gazing out the window as if lost in thought. Cammie noticed he didn't pull out a phone or any other distraction, unlike most customers. When she brought him his check, he slid it back toward her, along with a folded note. "Thank you," he said simply, standing and placing a generous tip on the table. Before Cammie could respond, he put on his cap and walked out into the drizzle. Curious, Cammie unfolded the note. As she read the words, her breath caught in her throat, and her hands trembled. The note read, "Dear Miss, you don't know me, but I've been coming through towns like this for years, observing, listening, and learning. Today, I saw something extraordinary in you. Despite the weariness in your eyes, you greeted me with kindness and grace. I see someone who works tirelessly, not because it's easy, but because you have people depending on you. Your strength is inspiring. I'm leaving you something to ease your burdens. Use it however you see fit, to rest, to dream, to build a future for you and your son. The world needs more people like you, and I'm grateful our paths crossed today. All the best. A friend. Beneath the note was a cashier's check for $500,000. Cammie's legs buckled, and she sank into the booth, tears streaming down her face. Her co-workers rushed over, alarmed. "Cammie, are you okay?" asked Debbie, the head cook, wiping her hands on her apron. Cammie couldn't find the words. She handed the note and check to Debbie, who gasped. Word spread quickly, and soon the diner buzzed with speculation about the mysterious man. That night, after putting Jordan to bed, Cammie sat at her kitchen table, the check in front of her. The possibilities swirled in her mind. She could finally pay off her debts, fix up their small house, and maybe even go back to school. But as days turned into weeks, her excitement was tempered by unease. Who was this man, and why had he chosen her? The answer came sooner than she expected. One morning, as she walked Jordan to school, a sleek black car pulled up beside them. The passenger window rolled down, revealing the man from the diner. "Miss Dawson," he said, his voice calm but commanding. "May I have a word?" Jordan looked up at his mother, confused. Cammie hesitated, then nodded, motioning for Jordan to continue walking to school. She stepped closer to the car. "I'm sorry for startling you," the man said. "I'm Daniel Whitmore. Perhaps you've heard the name." Cammie's eyes widened. Of course, she had. Daniel Whitmore was a tech mogul, philanthropist, and one of the richest men in the world. "Why me?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. He smiled. "Because I see potential in you, and I want to help you realize it." What followed was a whirlwind of change. Daniel's gesture opened doors Cammie never imagined. She used the money to secure a better home, start a college fund for Jordan, and enroll in business courses. But Daniel's involvement didn't end there. He became a mentor, introducing her to people who could help her achieve her dreams. Yet, life didn't become a fairy tale overnight. Some townsfolk resented her sudden fortune, whispering rumors about her and Daniel. Balancing her new opportunities with raising Jordan proved challenging, and there were moments when she felt overwhelmed. But through it all, Cammie's resilience shone. One day, as she prepared to open her very own cafe, a dream she never thought possible, Daniel visited her in Rosewood. They sat together in the empty space, sunlight streaming through the windows. "You've come a long way," he said. Cammie smiled. "Thanks to you." He shook his head. "No, Cammie, thanks to you. I just gave you a nudge." As they sat in silence, Cammie realized something profound. Her journey wasn't just about the money or the opportunities. It was about believing in herself and showing Jordan that no matter how tough life got, they could rise above it. But there was one lingering question Cammie couldn't shake. Why had Daniel chosen her specifically? One evening, as they discussed her business plans, Cammie gathered the courage to ask. Daniel's expression softened, a flicker of vulnerability crossing his face. "I'll tell you, but it's a story I don't often share." He revealed that years ago, before his rise to fame, he had been homeless, living in his car and struggling to make ends meet. During that dark period, a waitress at a small diner had shown him kindness, slipping extra food onto his plate and offering words of encouragement. That simple act of compassion had stayed with him, fueling his drive to succeed and his commitment to helping others. "You remind me of her," Daniel said quietly. "The same strength, the same kindness. Helping you felt like coming full circle." Tears welled in Cammie's eyes. "Thank you for sharing that." From that moment on, their bond deepened. Cammie's cafe became a beacon of hope in Rosewood, a place where anyone could find a warm meal and a listening ear. And as she stood behind the counter, watching Jordan help serve customers, she knew she was exactly where she was meant to be. But mysteries lingered. As Cammy renovated the cafe, she discovered an old photograph hidden beneath a loose floorboard, a picture of Daniel as a young man, sitting at a table with her late mother. The realization struck her like a lightning bolt. Daniel and her mother had crossed paths long ago. When Cammy confronted Daniel about the photo, his face turned ashen. "I didn't want you to know," he admitted. "Your mother was the waitress who helped me when I had nothing. She changed my life. When I saw you, I knew you were her daughter." Cammy's heart raced. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because I wasn't sure how you'd feel about me," Daniel said. "Your mother's kindness saved me, but I also hurt your family without knowing. One of my early business ventures caused the closure of the factory your father worked at. I've been trying to make amends ever since." This revelation rocked Cammy, stirring a whirlwind of emotions. She grappled with anger, gratitude, and the weight of her family's struggles. But as she processed the truth, she realized that both she and Daniel had been shaped by the same woman's kindness. In honoring her mother's legacy, Cammy found the strength to forgive and move forward. As the cafe thrived, it became a sanctuary for the community, a place where stories were shared, dreams were nurtured, and hope was rekindled. And in the quiet moments, as she watched Jordan laugh with customers or baked late into the night, Cammy felt her mother's spirit guiding her, reminding her that even in the darkest times, a single act of kindness could spark a lifetime of change. But just when Cammy thought she had unraveled all the threads, a new revelation came to light. One evening, while organizing the attic in her new home, she stumbled upon a sealed envelope hidden in an old trunk. It bore her mother's handwriting and was addressed to Daniel Whitmore. Inside was a letter that read, "Dear Daniel, if you're reading this, it means you've found your way back to us. I always knew you would. I didn't tell Cammy about you because I wanted her to find her strength on her own. But I hoped you'd be there for her when the time was right. You owe nothing to us, yet you've given us everything. Thank you. With love, Maggie Dawson." As Cammy read the letter, a new sense of purpose filled her. She realized that her mother and Daniel had both believed in her potential, even before she believed in herself. With this knowledge, she committed to carrying forward their legacy, not just in Rosewood, but beyond. Together with Daniel, she began expanding the cafe into a foundation that supported single parents and struggling families across the state, turning their shared story into a movement of hope and resilience. And so, the threads of the past and present wove together, creating a tapestry of kindness and second chances that would inspire generations to come.